Hi guys, welcome back to Spoon Feeding Profits. Today I'm gonna do a little bit of a different video. Um, this video is inspired by a recent video by the Bonafide Hustler and Steve Raiken um, on just unethical resellers, and I wanted to give my 2 cents on, or more so like a few tips, 4 tips in particular to keep these unethical sellers away as best as possible, right? Prevention is better, right, than anything else. So that's what I'm gonna share in this video. I hope to keep it short. Um, but yeah, so let me get into that. So, the guys were talking about, just stuff that happens at thrift store. And if you've been reselling for a while, I'm sure you have a story. I have a story or stories of just, somebody just doing something that you would have never thought you would never do. And a lot of times because we are like that, we would never do certain things. We kind of think that everybody else is the same, but the reality is there's some people out there who are just, they're just selfish. They think about themselves. And that's why if you listen to my videos, I always end it with be kind out there, right? Be kind out there, because resellers, man, it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic, I think. But so I just want to share 4 tips based on my experience and what I do now to help with certain things, right? I've had folks elbowed me in the past at a bin. We could just share stories, but my 4 tips would be, in the thrift store starting out in particular, I would say keep your carts close to you, right? Keep your carts close to you. Again, based on experience, your car, I've had my cart where I can see it, but it wasn't too close to me before. And I've caught resellers, other resellers who know that that cart belongs to somebody close by, because it wasn't just me there. They might not have known that it's mine, but they know it belongs to somebody, and just the way they pass by it and they're peeking in, and they're kind of sifting through, and you got to say, hey, that's my cart. So it's not like they don't know, they know, and just they're sneaky about it. So I've caught folks kind of stealthily going through my cart, even though I'm not too far away. And unfortunately, I've had times where I had a great find, and when I went up to pay for it, it's not in my cart. So guess what? Somebody stole it and I didn't even know. So for one, you want to keep your carts close to you. So, nobody, well, for the most part, except if that person is a real bully or something, just gonna come and take something out. But keep your cards close to you. That can eliminate a lot of stuff, right? So that's my tip, number 1. Number 2, I would say, don't make your items eye candy for other people. Again, this relates to the thrift store. For example, you have a cart and you're stacking it with stuff, you're finding stuff and you're putting it in your cart, especially something it's a great find. You have those folks who likes to brag about, I've seen people brag to the store manager, the thrift store manager, and then we wonder why thrift store prices are rising, right? I've seen people brag about stuff they just found that they're gonna flip it for this much, and I'm like, what are you doing? I actually saw a guy do that he bought it was $10 for the skateboard, and apparently it's a really unique one. I don't know much about him, but he says he's gonna flip that for 800, and he's telling that to the manager. And I'm looking at her thinking, is she gonna continue with this sale? Is she gonna? But she did, which was the right thing to do. But man, they're doing their research now even more. But don't make your items eye candy in your cart. This is particularly for other resellers and just other people in the store. You don't know who's who. And again, not everybody has the same ethics that you might have. And so what does that look like? For me, if I were to find, just say a great find, let me say a Gore-Tex Marmot jacket, for example. They have the nice logo on it and stuff. I'm going to put that in my cart in such a way that you can't see the logo, for one. It's just going to look like another piece of clothing. surrounded by a lot of clothing in the thrift store. Again, if I find stuff brand new with tags and it's a good item, I'm gonna put it in my cart in such a way that you can't see the tag, you can't see the brand. So it just looks like another piece of clothing in there, right? But if you have stuff just thrown in your cart and it's a great find, guess what? Other people around you is gonna see that, and not everybody can control themselves, apparently, right? And I've heard stories of people being bullied, straight out bullied. Like Steve Raiken shared that he literally was at the library sale and he had the book. He got to the book first, and somebody came and snatched the book out of his hand and said, "This is mine." I mean, there's apparently there's people like that out there. So to avoid, to try, I'm not saying there's going to be exceptions, as always, Lord forbid, but for the most part, that's what I do. My stuff in my cart, I put it in such a way that you can't see the brand, you can't see if it's new with tag, and if it's a great find, whether it's not a clothing item, it's a some kind of hard goods, I tuck it under clothing, stuff like that. And that's a good strategy for keeping eyes off your cart, because the reality is there are people that they want to take the easy way out, right? They want to they know, a lot of times too, they know that you are a reseller. They know that, because if you're reselling, you're in the thrift stores a lot, they're seeing you, you're seeing them, they're gonna check your carts out, they're gonna pass by and they're gonna kind of peek into it. I see it all the time. It's crazy, but I see it all the time. I mean, when I see stuff, I see a great find in somebody's cart, I'm like, what was through my mind is, man, I should have gotten here like an hour earlier or something. But then I come to the conclusion that, well, there you go. You're not going to get everything. So, but you have those who, that's not their mentality. Their mentality is, that thing is worth 200. I'm going to get that. And I don't know, they might bully somebody or try to steal it out of your cart or whatever the case is, right? So yeah, first tip was keep your carts close to you. Second, don't make your items eye candy for anybody else. Put it in such a way where folks can't see the brand and all that. It just looks like another piece of clothing in a cart, surrounded by tons of clothing in the thrift store, right? Now, I'll give two more for garage sale in particular. What I do, like Bonafide Hustler was sharing that he's had people, he's been looking at an item, he's actually holding it in his hand, and then somebody else make an offer to the seller and they got it first. So for me, what I do is when I come across something that I'm remotely interested in, or I'm still kind of going back and forth, or I'm even checking it up still on really trying to decide if it's something I want. As soon as I find it and it's possibly something I want, I take it up to the seller and I said, can you hold this here for me? And I tell him, yeah, I'm making a little bundle here. So I said, yep, I'm getting this. Worst case scenario, guys, guess what? I say, you can always say, when you're about to check out, just say you're buying a few things. A lot of times the garage sales, they're just happy that you're buying a few things. So if I say, yeah, I'm going to put this one back, I don't think I'm going to get this. But guess what? I've never had the issue. Most sellers, what I've seen is that somebody was trying to look at that item and they'll say, no, that somebody else has that already. So, the seller is actually guarding your item. So in that case, you've already said, yeah, I'm going to get that. You're still contemplating. For me, sometimes I get the basic info that I need and I'm still kind of checking it up on my phone, but I already took it to the seller to say, hey, can you keep this here for me? This is my little bundle or my little pile that I'm making. And you can always change your mind. It's not a big deal. It's not like you're at the garage sale for hours. So, at the end, they'll be like, man, I wish I'd known. So I could have sold this. It's for a few minutes. And then you decide if you want it or not. So that's what I do. And my last tip I want to share is, this one is more for the bins, right? I used to go to the bins, but I realized that that's not my kind of hustle, right? I like going to the thrift stores and going through the racks and finding my stuff. The bins, apparently, you have to, or at least now, you got to fight for your stuff. Because as soon as a new bin comes out, you have all these resellers that are just rushing to it. And again, it's just this selfish mentality of, I don't care about anybody else. It's all about me. I mean, and I've been there, and I remember this lady just elbowed me. Now, I was so shocked. I just stopped whatever I was doing. She didn't connect 100%, but she did graze my arm. But I saw she threw an elbow at me. It's like, get out of the way. So I was partly shocked at that. And secondly, I think I was shocked that because I saw her before the bin came out. And I saw her just walking around. And it's somebody I would have never thought for a second was capable of doing something like that. But when money's involved, people go crazy. And so, you know, after that, I just backed off. You know what I did? I went to the bins that were already picked over. I said, you know what? They can have that. That is not my kind of hustle at all. I'm not willing to do all that. So I'd say know yourself. Know, I guess there's some people that don't mind that. They don't mind the confrontations. They don't mind, they're gonna fight for what they want. There you go. Well, there you go. The bins maybe is for you, but for me, it's not. So when I go to the bins, I go to the ones that are already picked over. I'm not kidding you. And you would be surprised sometimes you can find some great stuff in those bins. And I remember that same day after that elbow was thrown at me, I walked off and I went to a bin that was already picked over. Nobody was there. I found a coat. I can't remember the brand right now, but when they weighed, I paid like $3. I flipped that coat for $75 plus shipping on eBay. Another time I went to the bin, already picked over, I found a brand new men's Timberland sandals, split for 40 plus shipping. So a lot of times I guess it depends on your brand knowledge, what you know. And a lot of times people might pass over it, especially if it's an old item, if it's a retro thing, you might know of it. So yeah, know yourself. Is the bin somewhere for you? Are you into that scene? And if you do go to the bins, are you like me? You're going to go to just the ones that are already picked over. So yeah, those are my 4 tips to avoid these, clashes and these just really unethical resellers that you have out there to deal with. All right, guys. So that is my video for today. Yeah, I just wanted to, after I saw Raiken did one on, he was disgusted about this seller. Then I saw Bonafide. I said, okay, let me share my tips on what I do when it comes to stuff like that. So maybe it helps somebody, right? All right, guys. So as always, be kind out there. Okay, that's why I say that. Be kind out there. I always say there's enough to go around. Today might be that person's day to find this amazing stuff. Tomorrow might be yours. All right. So, all right, guys. See you soon.